All right. Welcome everybody to week or episode 28 of Personal Rips and Hobby Chat. I'm Herman with at 3B Collections, and we have Ken at Beans Ball Cards Blog. Also beansballcardblog.com. Glad y'all could join us. Got a couple things we want to talk about tonight, and probably some rambling, some ranting, some raving.
Definitely some ranting.
So we'll I want to go ahead and apologize for and I'm sure I know Ken does too, because he mentioned it for last week. Last week was Ken's first week with me, and we kind of got tied up in each other's conversation and talking back and forth, and we both felt like we ignored the chat, which we're going to try our best not to do it this week. We're going to try.
It's tough without a producer. It's tough without a producer. Somebody that's literally just, just working that side of it. It's tough. I don't envy you doing both sides of it.
Yeah. And like I said, this was something that when I first started, and even now, I started just to have conversation about cards, because where I live, there literally is no one that I know of around me that collects. We have we got no LCS. There's no shows probably within an hour and a half of us, or an hour and a half drive. And, my only conversation about cards or hobby or collecting or anything was through Twitter. And, you got a lot of keyboard warriors out there, and a lot of people blow smoke, and you got the gatekeepers and such as that. I like to have one-on-one talk, with somebody in a hobby.
And we had talked about, you and I had talked about, before that I had done a couple of different podcasts by different names with one of my buddies, and really that's what we did. We didn't do, regular segments like a lot of them. We just were like, just get up for an hour or two, just chat, and that's right. The stuff I like to listen to. I don't need you to run down what all the new things are this week, because that's what everybody's doing.
Right? Yeah, I don't need to watch. I don't need to know what the release calendar is, because I can go to Blowout and see that. Yeah. Which that's fine. If that's what you want to do, that's fine too. But I don't want to say I don't care if anybody watches, because people watching and interacting in chat, that's a big part of it. But a lot of what this started as was me and Brad talking, and not even being recorded or being live. We were just talking, and he convinced me one night to hit the live button, and here we go. So and I enjoy it.
And some of the other guys that go live, you're talking, Dan George go live on Saturday nights. I don't always get in there. Right. Those evening ones are a little tougher. I don't get in on Bo and Brad every morning. It's usually only Monday morning. But when I do get in there, I like it, because it's sometimes like when I watch the replay, I'm like, man, I wanted to say this. Yeah. It's a moot point at this point.
Yeah. So, I usually do pretty good about catching Bo, because, and I've said this before, he's usually his time slot is usually when I'm driving to the job, so I can listen on my Bluetooth, not necessarily watch, but I can listen. Brad, by the time he comes on, I'm already on the job, and it's harder to interact. I can listen, but I can't really interact, and that's usually what I do. But with that being said, and I don't know if this is what order you want to go in, but since we're on that subject, I know we had talked about
you are the driver, my friend. I'm sitting in the passenger seat.
Well, we had talked about this. We kind of want to do more of a regular segment type thing, not necessarily cookie cutter, but we just wanted to add some stuff for everybody to look forward to. And one of the ones that you brought up was the the YouTube shout outs for other YouTube channels, which I think that's great. You share who you know or who you watch, get subscribers for other people, maybe draw a few to us. And I'm totally on board with that. So, with that being said, I guess my most watched one I would have to go with first would be Bo at 1 millioncards.com. And he's also 1 million cards on YouTube. He does a daily show, Hobby Evolution, which he has mentioned several times that it started out as a more of a diary type thing for him. That's his journey through his collection. And I think as he started or as he progressed, he picked up more and more followers and more interaction, which is great. I enjoy it every morning. It's not always necessarily card talk. He talks about, his wife's interest in art, and he talks about like tonight. He talked about craft beers and his choice of beers, and it's a lot of different stuff. I know a lot of times the viewers in the comments kind of throw him off subject, which that's all part of it, and I don't think he minds it. I think he kind of enjoys it because he plays off of it, because he's taught concerts, haircuts, all sorts of things, and it's interesting. And I just want to make that my first shout out as far as a YouTube channel to follow. I don't know if everybody that watches this follows him, but if you don't, I suggest you go ahead and go over to YouTube, 1millioncards.com or 1 million cards project. I'm sorry. And give him a follow and watch him, every morning 8-ish, between 8 and 8:15 he comes on. And that's 7 days a week.
That's Eastern. If you're in the Central Time zone,
that's Eastern. For him, it would be 7.
Yeah, that's why we were talking about before. Yeah, like sometimes I only catch them on Mondays because I start on Mondays. I'm a data analyst, so on Mondays I start an hour earlier to work on sales recaps. Most days I don't start work till 8, and the advantage of working at home is you can wake up at about 7:58 and be to the office by 8. So, right. But yeah, like you said, you talk about with Bo, he doesn't stick to just cards. Now, we don't talk about, politics, religion, stuff like that, but we do, he does talk about other things, and that's why we feel like we know Bo. He's more, you know what I mean? And, even you and I, last week, it was the first time we were on here together. We got off we were talking daylight savings time, which is funny. My wife, I didn't realize it was this past weekend until Saturday when my wife told me. She's like, it's tonight. I'm like, oh, now I see why I was talking about that on Monday. Had no concept. But anyway, yeah, I'm sure you and I will kind of get off on the same thing.
Speaking of that, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, but Mark Hoyle had said that when we got off on the daylight savings time, and I'm glad you joined us, Mark, that was he enjoyed the talk of the daylight savings time. I don't know why. I guess it was just something different, but he got a kick out of it, and he mentioned it in Twitter. So
he's probably already seen too much of my bitching and griping on Twitter anyway. So it was nice to hear something different.
Right.
So
but anyway, back to YouTube.
So yeah, I'm gonna throw out somebody that probably, I'm going to say probably nobody in the chat, nobody that watches this follows, because he has a new channel. He's only been making a video a day, and he's only been making them for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. And the channel is Shoebox, one word, Shoebox, and then Legends. And he is up in New England. He's a Red Sox fan. But he is a good guy. I've known Shane for years, from when I was doing more blogging and stuff. He's got a blog, Shoebox Legends. But he decided to come over and start doing some videos. And it's just, if you're a collector he's the kind of guy you want to watch. He's not talking about investing and flipping and all this kind of stuff. But really check him out. He has. I feel like many of us have too many projects to work on, and one of my 487,000 projects that I have is a buyback. What do you call a buyback Franken set? And I took that from him. And that's putting a set of 1 through 792 cards together, but they're all the buybacks, the rediscover tops, things like that. And he was kind of the one that started that, and that's been one of his videos. And then he's just showing some other recent pickups and things like that. So definitely recommend you give him at least give him a whirl. If you don't end up liking it, you don't subscribe. Nothing hurt, I guess, but would appreciate it if y'all would at least check him out and tell him that we sent you over. But yeah, Shane's a good guy, and he got a shout out from those back pages within the last handful of days, and I know his subscriber count jumped a little bit. I think he's up to around 30 something now. But if y'all would head over and check him out, it would be greatly appreciated.
Right, and the same with Bo. If you heard it here, you're not following him, and you follow him. Comment on a video and let him know where you heard it from.
Got to get those referral bonuses.
That's right. So, and this guy's name is Shane, you said?
Shane, yeah.
Okay, so Mark says he already follows him. So,
okay.
I'm trying to figure out a way to share links on here.
You got me on that one. You know what I've noticed though? I know 3 Shanes in the hobby. They all are in the Northeast, and they're all Red Sox fans.
All right, something by Shane, like Red Sox.
And I don't know. That name's just more popular up there or something. And I did have a kid I went to school with. I grew up in West Virginia and knew a kid named Shane, but I don't think he's a Red Sox fan or a card collector. So, yeah, I don't know about sharing. But, again, if you go into YouTube and just type in Shoebox Legends, you click on it, it'll probably be like, how they do it. The channel will be like the 4th or 5th thing that shows up or something like that, or maybe the first.
Let's try this. I'm gonna try to throw up Bo's link. If we can figure this out, we'll be doing good.
Mark has met the whole Shane clan, apparently. I like that. And Royals, thanks for checking out his channel. Yeah, it's the kind of guy that's just, he's a collector, and those are the kind of guys, especially for those of you that follow me on Twitter. I've been a little bit I've been causing people to be butthurt on Twitter, but yeah, I enjoy the collectors, not the flip vesters that are so.
I just threw up a link for Bo's. I'm not sure if it was his channel or just that one episode, but either way, if they go to it, they can find him that way. And again, we were talking before we came on, I think pretty much everybody that follows us and watches us already does, but just in case that one happen buyer comes by and sees it, if it picks him up one more follower, great.
Well, and who knows? These we are maybe he watches it a few months down the road, and is another guy. We both have YouTube channels. The subscribers tough to buy, so let's support the good ones out there.
Right, and like I said before, I would like to, pick mine up from 106, but, doing it organically, I think is better, just like you said, versus the way some of them do with doing giveaways. Not to say we won't ever do that, but that's not how I want to gain followers, because you can do a giveaway and gain 100 followers. And out of those 100 followers, you might not have one that would continuously come back. Mm-hmm. So, what's the point? You just gave something away for something and you gain one follower. I'm not,
I did it on Twitter years ago, and I actually required you do 3 things. I wasn't just a follow and retweet. It was, I need you to do this. I need you to subscribe to my blog, and I don't remember what the third one was. And I got 6 people. Like people just did not want to do that work. And I'm like, yeah, that ever since then, I've never been keen on giveaways. I'm just like, really, the people that are doing them just to get stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of times what I do when I see them on Twitter is I'll follow and retweet, and I'll be like, hey, if I were to be pulled for this, send it to XYZ because they're, a collector of whoever that is.
Yeah. And I've done giveaways in the past. Mainly when, and I don't talk about it a whole lot on here because I really don't want it to look like a voting thing. But when I first started trying to do a few breaks, I did a couple of giveaways, especially with like the mosaic basketball, and the amount of followers I gained from that was ridiculous. Just from a couple of fat packs of mosaic basketball.
Mm-hmm.
But since I actually gave them away, I haven't heard from the first one of them.
Yeah,
and not only that, but like I said, I gained probably 100 to 150 followers. I probably lost 100 of them after I gave it away.
Yeah, there's a lot of that too.
So,
at least when I lose,
the other 50, I've never heard from
followers. When I lose followers, it's something to say. All right. Enough of that.
Right.
All right. Moving so on. do we want to move on? We each kind of had a topic we wanted to talk about. So
yeah. And I'm hoping Bo's still around because he can be a big part of this or a big answer a lot of these questions that I may have or concerns or whatever I'm going through. But I've recently last week I had actually sold a card on eBay that I had listed on there for 6 months. I mean, it'd been on there for so long that really the guy that was listed, I don't go back through my listings a whole lot because I feel like, most everything is in one spot. I know where it's at. But I sold this card on eBay that I had listed for 6 months or longer. And so I get ready to go pull it and pack it. I cannot find it. I know it's in this box, and this is the box right here. I keep all of it in one box, but I cannot find it. And in this same box, I have, cards I've listed and cards that I want to list. So I did for probably an hour looking for this card, can't find it. And I'm like, oh crap, here we go. I'm going to have to message the guy, tell him I can't find the card, refund him, go through all this. Well, then I finally find the card, but it's in the stuff that I want to list. So my question is, for those of you that list a lot on eBay, and I know Bo does a lot, and that's the reason why I'm naming him, but how do you organize what you have listed on eBay? I know some people do it by lot number or item number. Some people may do it alphabetically. Some people may do like I do and just have it all in one box and it just know it's there until you sell it and you can't find it. But
yeah, well, we had talked about before that I haven't sold much on eBay in years. When I sell a lot more, but now, I mean, it may have been a thing. I can't remember, but I was doing it back in like 99 to like 2003 when it was auctions. And what I did, we hadn't mentioned that when we were talking before we went live, but yeah, I did it by item number. It was pretty easy, it first in, first out.
Right.
And it was pretty easy, but for the guys that have hundreds or thousands, or in the case of, guy that I can sign with tens of thousands, I have no idea how y'all organize those. And would love some hints, tips, suggestions on that.
So that's where I'm at. Like I told you, I've got maybe 79, 80 cards listed on eBay, and I'm losing a card. I can imagine somebody that has 1,000, 10,000 cards listed on eBay, how they keep up with it. Which, Bo says he has his organized by set, and let's see what he say. card sorted by year and set. And I don't necessarily know that would work for me because mine are so random. I've heard of the alphabetical by name, which seems like a more reasonable thing for me since mine is more broad as far as set wise. But it's something, and I've actually started Saturday right after that trying to do them alphabetically. But about halfway through that, I'm like, I don't know if this is going to work because, the ones that I do have, like I've got some lots of certain sets, like the 2020 metallic holiday. Do I keep them together or do I sort them out by name, pull them as I sell them? In that aspect,
are they listed singles or listed as a lot?
They're listed in variation.
Okay. Oh, I didn't even. That's another one that wouldn't have ever even thought about that aspect of
it. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. The single stuff is fine alphabetically, but stuff I have like variation, I don't necessarily know that I want to separate it because if I ever decide, well, this isn't going to sell, I'll pull them all and sell them as a lot. 2019 holiday metallic lot of whatever and sell it. It's just something, I've got to go back and look and get every name and pull every one of them and relist it. So let's see what Bo's saying here. He uses BCW card dividers. 2020 has divider and then divided sets are organized by Topps, Chrome, Moment, and A&G. Okay. Could use decades. My older stuff has 50s, 60s. Comes down to preference and how you can be more efficient. Okay. And I actually go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, from what you were saying, since you're listing things different ways, like I think in Bo's case, I believe everything he lists are pure singles. Now he is, like you said, he does the variation. I think he does variation listings. And I would said it way you can be most efficient and or maybe what way you sell most. On those metallics, do you tend to sell 3 and 4 of them at once, or do you tend to just sell one at a time?
It's usually singled out, and a lot of that stuff, like a lot of the metallic stuff, it's sat there for a while, and I've contemplated just pulling it off. And that's what brought this up is when I started listing things, alphabetically by player, and I come up to these stuff, the older stuff that's been on a while. I'm like, well, this really hadn't done anything in a while. Do I want to leave it on there and sort it out by player, or do I want to pull it and list it just as one big lot and try to get rid of all of it? And it made me think that if I have like some newer stuff now that's in variation listings, if I go ahead and separate them out by player just so I can find them as they sell, well, who's to say 3 months from now I decide to do the same thing with it? Then I've got to go hunt all that down individually by player, put them all back together, and then try to move them. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Are you trying to move them, or you tend to put them on there and let them set? Probably sounds like it has a lot to do with your personal philosophy on how you want to go about it. If you don't want to leave anything on more than 6 months, for example, that's your number, 6 months, 9 months, whatever the case may be, in general, then, maybe you do package those up together, or group them together and you go through them that way. It's hard for me to say because I'm not a seller anymore. So, I don't know what I don't know what I would do, but at the same time, in my case, if I've only got maybe a couple hundred cards, I'm probably not going to stress it too much, only because I know it's not going to take me that long to flip through them. Right. And after a few times, you kind of know where that card is because you've seen it 17 times in the last 3 weeks. You kind of already know where it is. So I do, like I said, I think a lot of what Bo said, it just comes down to personal preference, and any of us can offer any suggestions, but we're offering them based on how we are. Yeah, like I said, you're gonna take that variation listing down at some point, list them as a lot. It's going to be a heck of a lot more efficient if you've just already got them together.
Yep. And if you're, I'm thinking that what I may do is like my variation listings. I may, since I started alphabetical by name for the single stuff, I may just do me a variation slot for all my variation stuff.
Yeah,
that may work.
And if it doesn't, then you adapt and go from there and figure out what you're going to do going forward. But if you're going to sell a lot of metallic holiday cards, I love the holiday cards, and I have quite a bit of 2019. So just let me know if you're running an auction so I can keep an eye on that.
Yeah. Well, I personally, I didn't open any holiday cards for myself. But I do still have a stack here for you.
Well, I know. I'm not obviously. I'm not worried about it. I was
going to say, with that being said, and like I said, I don't usually use this as a self-promote type thing, but for anybody that's interested, I did post a pick your team for 2021 Series 1 for 4 blasters, which is 392 cards. So, there's a lot of $3 teams out there. I'll do stacks for the future. If you've already got one with me, which I do have a couple, it's out there.
I did take a look through that real quick, but that was when we were trying to get on here, so I didn't get a chance. I'm not the biggest baseball guy, but I might get in there, get a team or two, maybe just snag the Rangers, maybe snag the Indians, or the Cleveland whatevers.
Look here. Dan said he finally got the White Sox in a break. That's only because Brian just let him slide by. But yeah, and speaking of that, I've mentioned it before that I've always, when it comes to like set building, I've always made sure that I had an extra set or a set for, and this started with my first child. I had a set for that year of their birth, at least, for all of my kids. But that was a one, and I'm still working on the 72 set because I always wished the whole time I was collecting that, man, if my parents had built, had saved the 72 set for me, it'd be great. I'd have it, and there's some great cards in there. I love the set. But so I started building a set for every year that, that I had kids, my kids' birthdays, like got 93, 96, 99, 2009. And now since, I've got all my kids, now I'm starting on my grandkids, which with my first grandkid, that's what actually got me back into the hobby. But this year I've got 2 grandkids coming in the same year. So I've got 2 sets that I've got to build for 2021. Well, since I've gotten back, the way I've built my sets was, and this come on the recommendation of, Lanny Ribs. I can't remember.
I know the account.
Doc Biz is his name, but he had told me how he built his sets, and which was buy lots of cards from one person that was just like getting rid of all the cards or whatever. So I started reaching out to people that I knew open a lot of cards and like, look, if you got a big box that you'd be willing to sell, I'd be interested. So I say all that to say this. This year I bought a medium-sized box, just cram-packed full of Series 1 tops. Got them all, sorted through them, started separating 2 different sets. I came up, I think, 21 cards short of completing both sets. I give $25 for this box. It was a medium-sized flat rate box. I give $25 for it. I'm 25 cards short of completing 2 sets. Well, was it last week or week before last? We were talking about listing like our vet cards on eBay. Mike Trout was one of them. Well, in this box, I had probably 20 Mike Trout cards. I started listing them on eBay about a week and a half ago. I've sold them all, and I've more than paid for the $25 box I bought.
Yeah, I mean, that's a way to go. That's something. I'm not a set builder anymore, but I'm in the Montgomery Club, so I bought the Ginner X last year, and I decided I want to put that set together. So I have my cards. I bought all of the cards off my buddy Jeremy. Other than, he pulled the rookies, and I think he pulled like the top stars. But I needed plenty of commons as well. And then there was somebody else I got theirs as well. And yeah, that's how I worked on building the set. And after that, yeah, okay, I may need to pick up a couple singles or whatever. But it's much more cost effective. I don't play the baseball card lottery.
Right.
I'm not trying to buy boxes to get the big hits. I mean, I'm not gonna be unhappy if I were to hit a big card, but I would rather spend, like you said, what was a box this year? About $100 or something?
I pre-ordered early. Like when I say early, I'm talking like maybe 4 months early, and I bought mine was $110 a box.
Yeah, I mean, you paid less than a quarter.
By the time they were released, they were at 150.
Yeah, I mean I understand people there on a path. It even goes back to everybody saying, "Oh, I'm priced out of the hobby." Well, you may be priced out of opening boxes right now, but there are other ways to collect. But that's another. I get the appeal of opening them, but in your case, you're trying to just build those sets for those grandbabies. Why you would have to buy 4 boxes maybe and hope for the best,
right?
So now you said you pre-bought it. I don't remember what you said. Multiply that by and you got basically the whole set for $25, and you've already sold off. You've already paid for it, so you basically put those sets together for almost nothing. Yes, to purchase those 21 cards or whatever, but. Again, different folks, different strokes. Different people want to collect different ways, but if you're building multiple sets or something like that, that's a smart way to go. And then, you can turn around and maybe sell what, you could have even sold what was left over as a lot and probably gotten $10 out of them.
Yeah. Now I will say, and like I said, I've done this since 2018 when I got back in, and I started, and this is what I was talking about last week when I was talking about I was trying to find the 330 count boxes because they fit in the padded envelopes. That's what I had started doing when I did that back in 2018. I'm done with those. I've done all the trading that I feel like I could do with them. I've got my set. I've got the cards I want out of them. So I started pulling one of each, listing them on eBay as starter set / lots. And just moving, 600, 700 at a time until I ran out of boxes. So once I can get the boxes again, I'll go back to doing that. But the one thing, like I said, this year that I'm doing that I didn't do in the past was pulling some of the more of the common star vets like Mike Trout, Yelich, Ohtani, stuff like that, and sell them on eBay. It may be for $1.50, $2 a pop, but it paid for the box. And
and are you using the ship it the PWE with tracking?
Yep.
And I mean that's made a difference for you. That's made a difference for Bo.
I do every one of them like that. I mean, because it's it don't sound like much, but it adds up. Even using the tracking, the PWE's, the standard tracking with eBay, it still saves you 4 cents on a stamp, 51 cent. a stamp's 55 cents, so that's 4 more cents right there.
Yeah, and because who's buying a $2 Mike Trout common and paying $4 shipping on it?
Nobody.
I'm sorry, if you are, you're a damn moron. Unless it's literally the cheapest thing you can still find. You need it for your set. I mean, there are exceptions.
Yeah.
You want to complete that set. I get all that, but just in general, who the hell is paying $4 shipping on $1 and $2 cards?
Yeah, I listed the cards at like $1.50 a piece, free shipping. So by the time you pay the managed payment fees or the eBay fees or whatever, it's you net like $1 and $1 or something, and then 51 cents to ship it. So I mean, I'm making 50 cents a card. It don't sound like much, but you figure I've sold 30 of them in the last week and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's not a lot. It's not a lot, but if it's worth your while, and in this case, you can even justify, I put this little extra bit of work in. It took a little bit of time, but I literally got my box of cards for free. Or in your case, I made money off of them and got all the cards I needed out of it. So,
and like I said, there was 30 of them in the box that I had. When I sorted them, there was 30 Mike Trouts in this box. And when I did my eBay listing, I listed the Mike Trout card, available quantity, 30. So I mean, they're just selling. I don't have to go back and relist them. They're just popping off one at a time. I think I had one guy maybe buy 2. That helped me out because I only had to pay shipping one time, and it was still 51 cents.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's the way to me, that's the way to build sets if you want to do it. But again, some people, can't get over that. I have to open the cards myself. If that's what you want to do and that's what's fun, there's nothing wrong with that. But you're paying 4, 5, 6 times to build the set. And so there's a guy that's come back to the hobby that I grew up with. And when we were in elementary school, we collected cards, we traded. Well, he's just gotten back into it. And when we were kids, so he's my age, I'm 42. When we were kids in the late 80s, early 90s, you built sets. That's pretty much how everybody collected. You either built sets or you were a player team collector. That's what you did. I mean, there weren't these big hits. We weren't flippers. You build a set. So he comes back and that's what he wants to do. And it took him like 3 boxes of Allen and Ginter last year to complete the set. And he's like, well, shit, going on bought the set for $3.
Right.
And I'm like, it's what you want to do. It's fun to open the boxes and collate them yourself, but you're paying $100 a box, $300. You paid 10 times, what you could have paid for the set. If that 10 times is worth your enjoyment is worth that, then I'm going to fault you for it. But at the same time, you could have bought that set for $30 and had $270 to go buy whatever, he's up here. It's what Roberto Clemente could you buy for $250?
You're right.
Or whatever the case may be. I'm not going to fault anyone for building them if that's the way you want to go about it. But, with the price of wax going up.
Mark says he hadn't opened a pack in 35 years.
That is some willpower there. There ain't no way I'll be like that.
But if you think about it, and if you know Mark, and I'm not saying I know him like that well, but I know enough about it to know that he's a vintage collector. So, unless he's out there buying 1952 Topps packs, he's not going to open. You know what I mean? So I mean,
but even when I'm in my pre-war, because I have so many different things I like, you kind of get on one tangent, you collect something for a few months, and then you kind of get a little tired of it. You move on to something. Even when I'm in my vintage, every once in a while, I still want to open a few packs. I mean, I got a whole shelf in the other room just full of unopened wax. So I've got that I can do. I don't have to necessarily go out and buy anything, but yeah, still there's those rainy days where open packs is a little therapy from a bad day or a bad week. But like I said, teach your own, collect how you want. don't flip vest, but collect how you want.
Yeah, you're right. It's I like opening packs. Every once in a while, I'll open a few for myself. It gets kind of hard sometimes especially the way prices have went up. And I kind of, doing a few breaks here and there, I kind of get the enjoyment of opening packs there, even though you pull something, you're like, man, I wish I'd opened this for myself, but you still enjoy it because you pulled it,
Yeah.
So,
like I said, there's a million different ways to collect, and whatever works for you works. I'm not going to fault somebody if that's the way they want to do it. I just in general prefer to just buy singles, buy what I want. On a new product, I can buy the single usually cheaper than I could, open packs until I get it. Except it's not as easy now. Every once in a while, you want to open something, even if you've been buying vintage mostly. And it was about a year ago easy to just pick up a fat pack at Walmart or pick up a blaster. But now that that's changed, I mean, like I said, thankfully I've still got I don't know, 30 or 40 boxes of unopened product sitting in the other room that I can open.
Right.
I'm lucky that way.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have that much. I'm slowly accumulating some stuff. I think I've got, what have I got? I've got some 2020 update, and then I've got some older, junk wax stuff. I'm going to try to accumulate a few more stuff, a few more things from this year. I know I ordered an extra box of Heritage just to put up and not open.
Yeah.
But now I did order 3 boxes to open for myself because I plan on building the set, just because it's the 72. I'm kind of fond of. So, and I know 3 boxes ain't nowhere near enough to get me what I want, not with the SPs and everything, but I'm hoping it'll be enough to, give me some trade power.
Yeah, again, it's not wrong. Maybe Heritage is the only set you do that with this year, but you do what you did with Tops, and then maybe whatever other set later in the summer that you like, maybe you do a similar type deal. But you choose one per year that you want to build the, air quote, old fashioned way. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, this is supposed to be a hobby. It's supposed to be fun. It's just a little bit of a release from everyday life. And if that's, nostalgia, nostalgia is a powerful drug. I'm not the only one that says it. Everybody says it. And, nostalgia for me, maybe having some of those, reacquiring some of those cards I had as a kid or wanted as a kid, like the Dale Murphy Reverse Error. I want that card. Nostalgia for me would be getting that, but nostalgia for you is building your set, because I'm not a set builder, but it's the same.
Right.
We're all still doing, or a lot of us are still doing the same thing, but again, just going about it different ways.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm a set builder, but I'm not trying to build, 2021 back to 1952, because honestly, excuse me, I love the cards. I love the cards pre-war and a little after, but I don't really know those players. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know.
I don't have anything against. I don't have anything against them. They're great looking cards. I know Mickey Mantle. I know Babe Ruth. I know Warren Spahn. I know all those, but I never saw them guys play.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. There's guys in the, I'm in a great pre-war, which is mostly T206 in the group on Facebook, and there are some of those guys that just have no concept of the game right now. So it's just, the complete 180 from where you are, because they're more interested in the history. And I'm starting to go back to, I'm starting to shift my collecting again, and I'm going back more toward stuff that's Indianapolis 500 related. I don't even care that much about modern IndyCar. I watch it. I don't watch every race. I watch the Indianapolis 500 every year, but I don't necessarily care about every race and all these drivers. I care about the history, and the mystique of the 500 itself, and the fact that this race now happened yearly, and I think we're on the 104th or 105th running this year. So I'm interested in the guys that, ran in the early days and all that kind of stuff. And, you get the same thing with baseball.
You're right. Well, I'm gonna give you free reign here for a second. I'll be right back.
Sounds good. So, I think most of you guys, what team is on my hat? Here, what team is on my hat? That's Dale Earnhardt, baby. Dale Earnhardt Wrangler. That is. Yeah. So, my topic, and most of y'all that, follow me on Twitter, you've already seen that I've been rubbing some people the wrong way over the last 2 or 3 days. And, man, the Dallas Card Show was here this weekend, and I've just been venting, man, because I am just so jaded with the general current aspect of this hobby right now. And, you look at their Instagram page and it's all these flip vester, sneaker dickhead, douche canoes that, look at this card. And then they've got all these stacks of $100 bills and stuff like that. And I just think it's tacky. It's obnoxious. Okay, that's fine. But, why are we promoting that this is what the hobby is? And someone, I'm pretty sure he was subtweeting me just because he sometimes will be combative with me on Twitter. And he posted a picture of Mr. Mint from the 80s with all his cash. And he's like, oh, people have been doing this for years. Well, I get that. But it's one thing when one guy or two guys are doing it. It's another thing when you see dozens of guys at one card show doing it, and it just rubs me the wrong way. And, then I've got the people that, collect how you like, blah, 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 blah. Well, that's fine, but you're not collecting. You're the card bros are flip vesting, and it's just, I have no desire to go to this card show. I've gone twice in the last year, and once was because my buddy Jeremy came up. And the other time was because Jeremy came up again and I wanted to see him. And my buddy JT came in from Ohio for the show. So I went to the show, but it was as much about seeing those guys as it was anything else. Last time I went, it was so jammed and it just my anxiety went through the roof. I left, quickly. I'm only there a couple of hours. I can't even remember just what all I wanted to say, but yeah, just the whole, everybody's wanting to be all kumbaya and let's hold hands and everybody collect the way you want, but they're not collecting. They're obnoxious. And if you don't agree with me, fine. I don't give a damn. You don't have to agree with me. And I got people complaining that I blocked them because they are like basically defending all this crap and I blocked them and then they're complaining. Okay, I blocked you. Who cares? I don't really care about your opinion. I don't want to see somebody retweet your garbage opinion. But then the thing that really pisses me off. So I've lived in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I live in Arlington. Lived here for 6 years now, going on 7 years at the end of the year. And when I first got here and up through maybe about 2 to 3 years ago, there were multiple card shows in the area every month. There were a few weekends we ended up having 2 card shows. There were months we had a card show every weekend. Well, the Dallas Card Show is basically swallowing all the other ones up, put them out of business with his little monthly card show, which was fine, which was enjoyable because we did kind of have too many card shows. There's only so much you can do because there's only so many sellers. And you see the same guys weekend after weekend. There's only so much. But now that little card show that is more collector focused is gone. And it's now this big card show. Apparently now this year I was curious why it was running last weekend and it just ran in January. It ran over my birthday at the end of January. Well, now he's running this card show 6 months a year. And all these little card shows that were collector focused, they're gone. Those aren't around anymore. And you can say it's COVID if you want, but if you can have a big card show with COVID going on, you can have a smaller card show with COVID going on. That's just my 2 cents. And that's why it pisses me off that a lot of the actual collectors here they're not into this show. And it's these people flying in from everywhere, and it's these flip vesters. And when this crap is over in 2 or 3 years, what's going to be left behind? Just the ashes. We're not going to have regular little card shows. And these guys aren't going to want to fly in from, or you got one guy I know flying in, you got guys flying in from Louisville, from Florida, from the Pacific Northwest. Well, they're not going to continue flying into this show when the hobby in 2 years is where it was 3 years ago. And now I will step off my soapbox. I'm sure I had plenty of other points I wanted to talk about, but I did not make notes. I think I touched on most of them.
I hate I missed the first half of that rant. I didn't know that's what you were about to do, but
I just figured I'd go on the rant because I know I could take some time.
yeah, and I get your point, and I don't disagree with you. There's a lot of people that's come into the hobby that the only reason they're in the hobby is to make money, but they call themselves collectors.
That's the thing.
They're not collecting.
You're not a collector.
Because everything they have, and when I say everything, I mean everything they have is for sale. If everything you have is for sale, in my opinion, I'm not saying I'm right, and but if everything you have for sale, you're not collecting.
And you only
I have
PC5.
Stuff back here that will never be sold. It'll be, it'll go to my kids and my grandkids when I pass on. If they want it, whether they want it or not, they're getting it. What they do with it is up to them. But that to me, that's collecting. If you have stuff you're holding on to that just there's not a price that could take it away from you, that's collecting.
Or the guys
it's like Ben Wilson from About the Cards.
Mm-hmm.
He's a McGuire fan. He collects McGuire. He's got, I think he's in the upwards of 787 Topps McGuires. When McGuire cards was going, through the roof for, what they were actually worth, Rich suggested that he sell some of them and buy them back when the price come back down. Well, he's like, no, I'm not doing that because I bought them for me. To me, that is a collector. When he passed on the opportunity, go ahead.
Well, and he honestly, because I know Ben, he could have sold off half of those and done exactly what Rich said, and I wouldn't think of him as any less of a collector because the reality is he's going to be able to buy those back extremely cheap, and he at whatever Oakland A from a Gaudy set or something like that maybe he doesn't have. And that's why, and I clarify that some people hate the term true collector, and I use it. Just because you're a true collector doesn't mean you don't sell stuff. It means you hold a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but to what you were saying a while ago was that, some of these people that are in it now, everything they have is for sale.
Mm-hmm.
Everything they have has a price, but, and like I said, and this is my opinion, if you're a true collector, you've got stuff in your collection that doesn't have a price on it.
Yeah. And another thing I want to throw out there, just because I'm stepping back up onto my soapbox, is the people that want to be all kumbaya and hold hands, and we need to embrace every one of these new collectors. They're new. Everybody has to start new. Many of these guys are the same ones that are these PSA cucks and they will not support any other company, any new company. Oh, well, they're a new company. I don't want to support them. But yeah, we got to support all of these new flip vester sneaker dickheads. I
Right.
get people say, why do you let it get to you? Look, I'm a little bit of a hothead. It is what it is. I've always been that way. I was in Little League yelling at umpires. I'm proud of it, but the fact of the matter is, I am what I am, and these things really irritate me, and they rub me the wrong way. And I'm gonna, and as we said before, people want to come back and be like, you're a gatekeeper, you're this, you're that. Okay, I'll wear the gatekeeper badge if that's what you want to call me. But the other thing I know is that when I tweet this stuff, I get more likes than I do on anything else I tweet. I'm the a-hole that's going to say it, but there's a lot of people that think it and don't want to say it because they just want to take the time to argue. Any number of reasons. I'm not faulting them for not saying anything. I'm not saying everybody has to voice their opinion, but I'm saying I get a crap ton of likes. So obviously I'm not the only one, and I don't think that I'm in the minority either.
Yeah. And I would consider like what you post as being a gatekeeper, but you've got those out there that try to tell people how they should collect or what they should and shouldn't do, like what they should submit to PSA or Beckett or SCG or any of the other grading companies. Like that to me is being a gatekeeper. I saw John Newman take some flack today about posting about gatekeepers, because they were like, well, what are you talking about? Because nobody's saying anything, this, that, and the other. And he tried to tell the guy that, the same thing I just said. You got people out there that's telling people what they should submit to grading and what they shouldn't because they're clogging up the system. But if I've got, well, and I'm just picking up the first thing on my desk, if I've got a 2020 2030 Lindor card that I want to get graded because it's a card I want to get graded, then why shouldn't I? It's a free country.
I don't disagree with that. And you've got guys like Dan and George that do grade those. But the thing is, those are getting graded, and you're seeing those at card shows, and you're seeing those on eBay, and they're common cards. And it's just like, okay, if you're doing it for your own personal collection, I get that totally, because I want to get my T36 set. I want to get it graded by PSA. Not that I care about grading, not that I have any love for PSA, but because if I did that, when I complete the master set, front and back, 100 cards, I will have the only PSA graded set. And I just want to show it off. But I'm not grading a 1993 Benji Grigsby card because I think it's a 10 and I can turn it around and sell it for $35 on eBay. That's the crap that it is. And I told John is the one I told today. I was like, I don't know if people consider me a gatekeeper. I don't give a shit if you do. And if you want to call me that, I will proudly wear the badge, because not like what I say. You might not like what I think, but I say what I think and I believe it. And that's how I feel. Right. I have said that PSA needed to raise those prices for a while. And it's unfortunate for guys like Dan who do those player collections. I do feel bad for those guys that legitimately do that. There's a guy, Bart, that collects 49ers PSA and is like working on the master set. I feel for those guys. Those guys are the ones that are totally getting screwed because of all these, like I said, these flip vesters. Somebody came up with it and I love it, so I use it. How many damn Zion prisms, how many damn Luka prisms are created out there? And there's going to come a bubble. You can't tell me that this demand is always going to outweigh this supply.
No,
I don't buy it. No. And and then here we go again.
And I mean, to be honest, I am not a fan of graded cards. Not that there's anything wrong with them. If that's what you're into, more power to you. I probably will never submit a card to be graded. However, and I put this on Twitter, I think I didn't put it on Twitter. I think I commented on George and Dan's YouTube channel whenever they're on the other night that I seen where there is a place where you can buy the graded type slabs. I'm considering buying those just to slab my Freeman PC, but it's not to be graded. It's just because I like the slab look and the label, the label that goes in it, but I don't necessarily want to have the grade. I want it for my personal collection because I think it looks good in a display because it has it has the title of the year of the manufacturer and all that and the name. It looks good displayed.
I agree 100%. Graded cards look great. I'm not necessarily the biggest graded guy, but when I'm buying, a little higher price vintage, I want it graded for the authenticity aspect. Whether it's a 1 or whether it's a 7, is completely irrelevant to me. Yeah. And it has its place. And like I said, I feel bad for the guys that are trying to do these player collections or these team collections that now are having to pay $25 to sub a common. But those guys are the guys that are keeping those cards. Those guys aren't trying to sub a common and make $10 after all of their fees. And that's the stuff that's ridiculous. And that's the stuff that's bogging it down. And as I've said a couple times to people in the last couple of days, if you can't see the difference between that and grading a higher price card or somebody that's collecting for a team, if you can't see the difference, there's nothing I can tell you. Bless your heart. You think what you think, but there's nothing I'm going to be able to say that's going to make you change your mind. So I'm not going to sit here and argue with it. I'll still beat the drum, but I'm not going to bother arguing with you over and over about it because you're not going to change your mind, and heaven knows I ain't going to change my mind.
Right. And with that being said, I know George has said he's kind of saying the same thing, that he's thought about buying to protect the cases to put their cards in. And Matt has said that he likes the idea, which I mentioned it to George the other night, and it was in their YouTube feed where him and Dan was on, that I was considering buying them and encasing my Freeman cards. Mm-hmm. Not all of them. I ain't talking about doing all the parallels, but I was thinking about doing like all the base tops, all the cards. I've got to find somebody that knows how to design maybe a label to put in. I found a place to order the cases. They're I think $78 for 100. But the kicker is it's $100 shipping to get them here because they are from China. But it's $100 shipping whether you buy 100 or you buy 400.
Yeah, you need to work with guys you're going to do as well, and work that out to try to minimize the shipping or whatever other fees. So
yeah, see, Matt says it's 100 slabs for $400 on eBay. If you buy them from the place I'm talking about, it's $78 for 100 with $100 shipping.
But then $100.
It's $178. If you buy 200 slabs, it's $278. No, I'm sorry. 78 times 2, 156. 156 plus 100 is 256. So you're not talking about that much more to buy 200 versus 100. So I think I'm gonna reach out and see if maybe a couple of other people are interested, and save split shipping. You could save a lot.
Yeah.
Even if it was just one other person and you split shipping 50-50.
Yeah. I mean brings down the average cost.
Plus the actual maybe $10 shipping to ship them. They're 100 once you got them. But look, Matt, seriously, if you're thinking about, hold on, let's see, where'd he go? Oh, that was George. He said he'd buy a batch. So that's in Korea. So it probably cost me another 100 to get them here. But yeah, that's What we got? What we got?
Is the newest. That is the newest Montgomery Club set. I just got mine on Saturday. Just thought I'd show those off since we didn't really rip anything tonight. I did take a look. There is no Freddie Freeman in there, so sorry about that, amigo. Kind of not one for me to get you, but I thought these were pretty cool with the state designs in the background.
So what is that? All the players? I mean, showing up.
It's a 20 card set. It's one of the, you get 5, I believe. If you're on the Montgomery Club, you get like 5 20 card sets throughout the year. Roberto Clemente. So it's got state of Pennsylvania in the background. We got some White Sox friends here. So Abreu Madrigal. I think that's how you say his name. Yeah, I just thought they were pretty cool. The only thing I didn't like is, and it actually is a little bit of a hindrance to me because I'm not a baseball guy. I don't know who these guys are, and the names aren't on the front. That was the one thing I did not care for.
That's Bo Bichette, right?
That is Bichette, yes. Some of them I could figure out. I mean, it's not real hard to figure out who that is. Really, that was Harper. That was Harper. This one's really not hard to figure out who that is. There you go, Mark, if you're still here.
Yeah, Mark Hall, there you go.
But yeah, I figured I'd show those off. I thought they were a little different. I do like them. Here for George.
Yeah.
Stan the man. But yeah, I thought they were pretty cool. But I didn't like, I don't know what the history, the background. I think they all have background stories, like they were a test design or something like that. It may say on there, but I can't read it right now. Yeah. But yeah, I didn't like the lack of names though.
I tried to get the Montgomery Club this year, but with the whole mix. So is this your first year in it?
No, this is my second year in it.
Okay, so you had the option. Yeah, I tried to get in it, but with the whole debacle they had with the bots and everything else, and then when they re-offered it up, I missed it.
I actually saw, maybe it was Ivan tweeted. Somebody either tweeted or told me about it before the emails. So I went in and did it before all of that happened. So luckily I was able to renew. I don't know if they ever fixed the lack of renewal, the people that couldn't renew. I don't know how that ever turned out, but I was fortunate enough to have seen either a tweet or got the message. I can't remember what it was. Right. So I was fortunate to be able to go ahead and get in there again. And I mean, I've already made my membership fee reselling the boxes.
Right.
So and that's what I do it for.
Have you been a member since the beginning, or?
I was not the first year. I joined the second year, and then this is the third year.
Right. And the price goes up every year, pretty much.
I don't think my price went up. I think
no. I'm saying for new people coming in.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And I may raise them eventually on the existing members. Who knows? But thankfully, this year it did not go up for me.
Yeah, I don't think the existing members will go up.
I hope not. And I hope I don't miss out on signing up 1 year because I mean, at least for now, I mean, the reality is, at least at the price I'm paying, it's worth it to just get the factory set, get those 5 little sets.
Yeah.
It's what it pays for itself really there.
Well, and then you have the online exclusive stuff that you have stuff. Yeah. All right, man. Well, we're at an hour, so we're gonna go ahead and cut it off. Everybody that joined us, George, Dan, Matt, Mark, Bo. I appreciate you stopping in. Like I said, we're going to try to, we're going to continue the YouTube shout out and maybe try to add a few other things in the weeks to come. As long as Ken's willing to hang in there with me, we'll keep doing it. But until next week, everybody have a safe and happy hobby, and we'll see y'all then.
See ya.